and welcome to Own Your Peace. Today, I have a lovely guest, Lacy Watson. She is an integrative life and business coach. I had the pleasure of meeting her in the online world, which is such a fun thing when you connect with like-minded people online and you just have this instant connection and you know that you're meant to work together. And I had that instant kind of like click moment with Lacy. So I'm so excited to have her on the podcast to talk about her life, her story, what has brought her to this point. And I know she's going to have lots of value to add. So welcome and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was super fun to meet you on the networking call.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
fun how we just kind of like randomly meet people and they just clicks.
Well, yeah, I felt like when we met in the room that we were in the networking room, I knew right away that I wanted to work with you in some capacity.
Yeah. There's always a pull of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your journey that has brought you to where you're at today.
Sure. So let's see. Right. So I am
A
an
loaded question.
integrated, I know that's a loaded question. I am an integrated life and wellness and business coach, and I started my journey in 2008. I was a work study student for a naturopathic physician, and I had no idea what naturopathic medicine was at that point. I was 23 years old. I was in college to be a medical assistant, and I didn't really know what I wanted, but I knew that I wanted something bigger because I was working at Arby's and I wasn't fulfilled and I felt like life was kind of passing me by. Um, and I got into the online space through my journey of working in naturopathic medicine. I started out as the office assistant in the clinic that I was working at, and I eventually became the office manager.
Okay.
And I was office manager for about 8 years. So I worked at the same clinic from 2008 to 2017. And in 2017, my little brother, who was born when I was 15, and he was an identical twin. So the twins were born when I was 15 to my father and my stepmother. My brother had been diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma, which is cancer of the muscles, if you don't know what that term means. And he beat it. He beat it. Seattle Children's helped
Good.
him beat cancer. And in 2017, on February 23rd of 2017, his twin found him lifeless in his bed. He had taken his life. He had taken 3 bottles of Unisom.
My
And
goodness.
so that kind of sent me into a dark world. And prior to that, I had become a health coach in 2012. And I was working as office manager at this clinic, but I had my own business, health coaching. And so I was helping people with building their foundations, right? They're building their wellness foundations and helping eliminate food allergies and intolerances. And I specialized in helping people going gluten-free because I have celiac disease, and I specialized in helping people with their food allergies. And I was working with the naturopathic physician. I was assisting her not only in the office and as a medical assistant and as office manager, but also with my side hustle of being a health coach. And so I went through kind of a dark night of the soul during that time after my brother
Yeah.
passed. I quit my job of almost 10 years because I was just a mess. And I went through a period of some massive addiction. A little preface here is when I was 15 to 21, I was a meth addict.
Wow.
I was deeply addicted to methamphetamine, and I escaped. I left Wyoming. I grew up in Wyoming. I left Wyoming to move to Washington with my dad so that I could escape the day after I got married to my first husband. And I did. I escaped that world, but I never really truly left the substances behind. You know, I was always a bit of a substance abuser. I drank a lot. I smoked a lot of pot, but on the surface, it looked like I was, a high performer. It looked like I was not doing those sorts of things. But on the weekend, I was a weekend warrior, so I was always partying on the
Okay.
weekends and going to like raves and concerts, that sort of thing. And so fast forward when my brother dies, I had another, relapse, if you will, and I got
Yeah.
really deep into pills and I was abusing gabapentin and all sorts of things. And um, um, I ended up getting married in 2018 to my current husband, who's my soulmate, and that was a bright and beautiful year. We had been together for like 5 years prior to that, but
Yeah.
so 2018 was a really great year. But then fast forward to 2029, I flipped
Yeah.
my Jeep and I almost died.
Oh my goodness.
And then my uncle died suddenly from medical mishap. And he was kind of like a father to me. And it was very sudden and very tragic. And my first death experience was with his wife. She had passed away suddenly and unexpectedly in 2011. And so 2019 was really difficult because it was dealing with essentially not just my uncle's death, but it kind of brought up my brother's death, and then it brought up my
Right.
aunt's death, and it kind of like brought everything back to the surface. So I just went down a deep, dark place, and I was very sick. But during this entire time, I was still practicing my wellness foundations, and that's what brings me to now is I am now clean and sober, and it was because I practiced these wellness foundations. I never stopped practicing my wellness foundations, things like eating healthy, and that means whole foods, not eating
Yeah.
fast food, not eating out, eating, fruits and vegetables and all those sorts of things, and practicing breath work, going to the gym, all of those foundational pieces, they kept me alive. So after my uncle died, 2020 happened, and I was still working in naturopathic medicine just for different clinics. And I lost my job. I got let go in 2020 because I wasn't going to take the
Wait.
injection everybody wanted to take
Yes.
because I was working in naturopathic medicine. But I
Right.
was
That's
like, go,
interesting that that was in there and they were requiring that you add a naturopathic.
yes, I was
That's
let go because of it.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and because I was so adamant against that.
Yeah.
And I remember asking the doctor I worked for, I said, "Do you think that I should get this?" And she said, "Absolutely not." This was before she let me go. She said, "Absolutely not. You have celiac disease. You should absolutely not get this because it could affect your health." And fast forward, she came up to me and said, your views are scaring people, and you're going to have to get this sooner or later, so I'm just going to let you go. And I was like, well, I'm just questioning everything. I'm your medical assistant. Why should I not question these things? And so I was
Yeah.
devastated, you can imagine, because
Right.
I had been
Of
working in,
course.
yeah, and I'd been working in naturopathic medicine nonstop for 12 years. Like, I mean, I had the moment where I left my original position, but I just jumped right into another position. I just needed a change.
Yeah.
Um, and so I had worked for many different naturopathic physicians. And so my brain was totally scrambled by what was going on. And so I fell even deeper down into a hole and having all this loss. And then during that time, my friend lost their baby. And then I found my dog dead. And then just continual loss after loss after loss. And, fast forward to 2 years ago, my grandma passed away. And I just kept having these hits, just one after another. And I kind of like had a surrender where I think I told you before we even got live that I had been down into a rabbit hole. I was hunting predators online, and I was the volunteer team leader for Operation Underground Railroad. I don't know if you know
Okay.
who they are.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
big here in Utah,
Oh
so yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I was the volunteer team leader for Washington State, and I had an event where I had a couple of the members come, and one of my good friends was the special director of operations. He came, and my friend and I had held an event to educate people about human trafficking and online predators here at the high school. And during that event, he had a question of what can we do locally. And so he ended up quitting Operation Underground Railroad and starting the Innocent Rescue Mission, and now it's called the Innocent, where they equip local police departments to help them catch the predators. And that entire moment in my life was just so eye-opening of what, there's so much more outside myself, and there's so much more than what meets the eye, and that everybody has a divine purpose, and there's a divine design and a calling on your life, and it's not always what you think it is. And like
That.
when he answered that question of him, and then he's like, no, I'm just gonna go and I'm going to create my own new thing, and it literally created so much change in my little valley, because they had gone after a bunch of people, and it was so eye-opening to me that there was so much more, and that everybody's got this purpose to their life. It kind of sparked something in me of, okay, I've been working as a life coach, as a health coach for a long time. What can I do to help people figure out what their gifts are, what their purpose in this life is? So my business, it had shifted because throughout this time I had been doing a side hustle as a health coach. And then I became a life coach after all of my trauma and drama and all
Yeah.
these things, right? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I got
You've
to
been to
walk
the
people through
dark.
grief.
I can help.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been there.
Yeah. And
You've
I
been in
can,
the trenches. That you can really help people who are in that as well.
oh,
Like you,
yes,
what a beauty.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I always like to say our pain becomes our medicine. Our
Yeah,
mess becomes our
absolutely.
message.
Absolutely. So I had helped previous clients kind of figure out what it was, what they wanted to do with their life. And so, they had, for example, my most recent client, I met her on a river float, and we were talking about what she wanted to do, and she's like, I want to have a crystal shop. I want to have like a unique, hand carved gemstone shop on Main Street. And within 3 months' time, we built it together, and I did all the
Awesome.
branding, and I built her website, and I helped her just like define what it was that she wanted with her life. Another client that I had, she was a teacher and she wanted to have a bakery, and she um ended up building a coffee shop. Like just these types of things, like figuring out what it is you want with your life and just going to do it. And
Yes.
so my husband and I developed our business, Morning Moon Digital Media, where it started out as I was helping people build courses and build their websites for practitioners. And
Mm.
now it's become, what's your dream? What is the calling on your life? What is the divine design and the calling on your life? Because everybody has one. And how will it create a legacy for you? So what I do with my clients is I help them build their wellness foundation. If they come to me and they're like, I just don't know, I just want to lose weight, or I just want to get rid of my food allergies. We get to the part of who they are, and we look at what their gifts are, what their struggles and their strengths are, and then what their dream is. And then we build the dream. We build the dream by the light of the morning moon, and that's our business.
I
And
love it.
so throughout all of our struggles and throughout all of our story, we have um, built a business where we help other people find their gift and their dream and build it. And we build it like really quickly. I mean, we try to do it, my goal is usually 3 months time.
I love it.
And
She's a
so,
5-1 generator, so she can fix the problem. And she's got the
yep.
energy as a generator to do it. So I love
Yeah.
that for you. It's so interesting that like our paths are so parallel because I mean, we do the very similar work, but just in a different way. And it's so beautiful. There's so many different ways, but we both have the same vision that when you get aligned with your purpose, everything shifts,
Yeah.
everything
Absolutely.
changes because I think one of the reasons why people are in depression and anxiety is because they feel like they're lost. They don't have an anchor, a mooring. As soon as you lock into the reason that you were born, the reason why you're on this planet, and you feel driven and called to that, there's no depression. Obviously, we're going to have our feelings. We have days we still feel things, but like there's just this anchoring that pulls us forward where we have this unlocking within us that opens so much more, and joy becomes more of an anchor. And it's such a beautiful thing when you connect with why you're here, and working with somebody like Lacey, working with somebody like myself to help you find that changes the game
Oh,
completely. And then we use what I like to call practical magic. We build the website, we build the business plan, we put it together, and it goes from being just this, obviously this divine message that you receive that this is what you want to do. But then you mix it with a little practical magic and it becomes something that's living and breathing, and you embody it and it becomes. And that is the magic of alchemy. And Oh, I'm all kinds of excited right now. Like, it's so beautiful when we step into it. And it really goes back to like really understanding whatever your mission, your purpose is, having a steady daily routine, a daily devotion to principles of health. Like, that's the real work. Like, we can talk about dreams and building businesses and all these things, but if you're not doing the daily devotion, then you're going to have a hard time staying in those places. That you have to have that nervous system regulation. You have to have that space in your day for magic to be received before you can step into and really allow these things to grow on their own. And I love that you have like these little pillars that you teach. Let's go through those pillars and what you teach as those daily devotions that really have made all the difference. When you were in the dark night of the soul, they kept you here, they kept you grounded. Even though you were making choices that were not in alignment with where you wanted to go, they still kept you grounded. And
Yeah.
that's powerful in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can only control your controllables. Everything else can, the storm can rage around you, but the only thing that you can control is things like, what are you eating? Like, what are you putting into your body? What are you nourishing your body with? How much water are you drinking? Are you hydrated? That's very important.
It's
Seems
a
like a silly
simple
thing.
it's a simple thing, but it makes all the difference. And then we add, a little bit fun layer, maybe blessing your water, putting an intention into your water, and it just takes it that much further. These simple things, adding that extra layer of devotion. But yeah, water is I need to work a little bit harder on because I don't drink as much as I should. But I think we all get there, right? We have these moments where we struggle.
Yeah, water's life. Water's life. And
Water's
I'm
life.
making sure water's life and making sure your water is filtered is
Yes,
another
filtered water
like
is huge.
filtered water is huge. And it's like a silly little thing. But making sure your water is filtered and then making sure that you're moving. Are you moving every day? Are you letting your body get that energy out? Because motion motion changes emotion. And if
Ooh,
you
that's
if
magical.
yes, and if your emotions are stuck, they get stuck in the fascia. And so you have to move your body so that those emotions can get out. And then what are you nourishing your brain with? What are you feeding your mind with? And what kind of self-talk are you how are you talking to yourself? How do you
Huge.
yeah. Oh, it's so huge. If you are self-defeating and you are saying that I can't do this, that, or the other thing, or you're looking down on yourself, you're never going to get out of that. You're never going to get out of the muck. You're going to just be stuck in the rabbit hole of self-hate and then, self-sabotage. And so that was huge for me I like to say when I was sick, because I was talking about, well, who am I to help other people? Or who am I to, well, who are you? Like, who are you really? Like, if you are going through something and you've made it through, you can teach others.
Right.
And
And you're more suited than anyone else to help people who are in who where you're at, to help them. I always say we help the people who are two steps behind us.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We don't need to be in some crazy, place to be able to help somebody. And for me, I'm just now 5 months completely sober. Like
That's
I,
amazing.
yeah, and I'm not,
Like
I'm not going back.
and and for those of you, I feel like there's such an important thing to be said here, that you know what your body needs and you trusted it. And there's a lot of people who will say, well, these things are good for you and they can be helpful, and for you, you knew that they weren't, and they weren't serving you, so you put them down.
Yeah, I couldn't be the highest expression of myself if I was very addicted to pot. And pot was like, everybody's like, oh, marijuana it's a healing herb, it's a healing plant. Well, for me, it's not healing. It just
Yeah,
keeps me grounded.
and that's what's a hard thing, is like it is a very sticky plant. The leaves itself are very sticky, so it is one that you have to really be careful with, because it can be very healing and it can be a really great thing. I'm not saying that it's not, but at the same time, it can also be your detriment if you don't have a healing and healthy relationship with it. And I see both sides. And so it's like you have to really do the work and be like, is my relationship with this medicine, regardless of what the medicine is, there's so many healing, plant medicines out there. What is your relationship?
Amen. And I had a very abusive relationship with all plant medicine. It wasn't just marijuana, but like,
Right.
mushrooms and all those things. I I was overusing them. And so for me, there was almost a, and I had never been sober from the time I started using. And I started using drugs when I was 15,
Wow.
substances. And so I had never been actually, so, and they say that you are the age that you are when you pick the substance up, right? You're
Emotionally, yeah.
emotionally stuck at the age that you were when you started. And so I could feel that through these last 5 months. Um, and I was never really a huge drinker, but still I would have that weekend, those weekends. And I honestly, I've gone out a few times with my friends. I went out with my friend the other day, to like an anniversary party, and everyone was drinking the wine and drinking, there was an open bar, all these things. And my friend was like, "Do you want to have a drink? Do you want to?" And I said, "You know what? Hard stop, no." And she made the decision to stand by me in that, and we stayed sober. And it was so funny watching all these people, just let their inhibitions go. And I felt really good, and Halloween was kind of triggering, because it's like you want to go out, you want to have fun, but
Right.
I I felt powerful and like triumphant having not partaken in that. And it was a whole new type of high, I guess, if you will. And it
Right.
was like I didn't have to wake up with a headache the next day. I didn't have to feel like, I had betrayed my journey. And
Yeah.
I feel better because of it. And I would rather go and drink my sparkling water
Yep.
and stay hydrated and go work out and live this next half, because I'm going to be 40 in February. And I want to live this next half of my life completely sober, because I lived this whole other 15 to 39, you know um using substances. And
Yeah.
I feel like it kept me young in one way. It kept me emotionally, a little bit immature, but it's time for me to grow up. And I feel like as a millennial, there's a lot of that going around. A lot of
Yeah.
us, a lot of
And
us
I
are stuck.
think even just that, there's like this meme that's like, we need to find a more adulty adult.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I am
Was it
like I'm 46, but I still feel like I'm so young. But I keep waiting for that moment where I'm like, oh, I'm an adult now. I,
right?
and I feel like I have grown children. I have adult children myself, and
Yeah,
I'm
same,
like
same.
I'm still waiting for that to hit, and it's not. And I think that's what's changed, between our generation and then the generations before. Maybe our parents felt this way too. I don't know. I felt like they were so much more mature.
Oh,
Like even if you look at like characters on like TV shows, like in the
oh yeah.
40s, they look like they were in their 50s or 60s, and they were like our age.
Cheers.
Like cheers. I'm like, they
Yeah,
look so old,
they look
and
so old.
they look so old. And like Golden Girls, like they
Golden
weren't
Girls.
they were
Oh
not
my
even that
gosh, they
old.
were not even that old. They were only in their 50s, I think. Like I think some of
Yeah,
them
and like you
like
look at 50-year-olds today, like we look so much younger. And I think it's because we're allowing ourselves space and time to evolve and to step into who we are. I really do believe there's so much wisdom in the belief that as women move through the, perimenopause and menopause, and we lay down this creative energy of creating light, actual beings, we're now calling back that energy to ourselves and to our beingness. And this is the true time where we're actually stepping into more of our power, and we're stepping into more of this like rebirth of ourselves
yes.
and creating something really beautiful in the second, we're not going out to pasture. We're like stepping into our power. Like
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
and that's what's changed. And I'm like, I actually have way more energy and way more
Yes.
like creative life force moving through me now than I did in my 20s because I was
Same.
busy with babies.
Yeah,
I didn't have
same.
time
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
energy for it. I'm a projector, so I like my energy as itself is like not as strong. But like, yeah, it's we need to revisit that, like the whole aging process. Like, let it be something you're evolving into. Allow yourself to be young. Allow it to be like, you know what? I'm as young as I feel. And stop this whole like, oh well, I'm 40, so like my body's falling apart, like I'm getting old, like I all this stuff that happens when you start to believe it. Like
Yeah.
you a thought is just the thought you kept on thinking that you learned to believe.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
You
so
embody it.
you embody it.
You embody
So
the thought. Yeah,
I yeah, I've always said I'm like a fine wine. I get better with age.
same.
Yeah.
I was looking at my hair. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going gray. And it's like, I don't feel like I should be going gray, but I'm a fine wine. I'm just refining.
It's
It's
just
just a
glitter.
refinement. Yeah, it's just glitter. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But those wellness foundations are so important for me,
Yes.
especially when you get older and you are
Mm.
um like especially strength training, okay? Like I have so many clients that are older in their 60s and 70s, and you can't even imagine how many of them I'm taking to the gym that I'm
I love
having
it.
them lift weights because, things like getting this is so silly, but things like getting up out of a chair, right? Like just getting up out of a chair becomes difficult when you're in your 60s and 70s. Like, and
Yeah.
if you start strength training when you're young,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're never too young to start strength training. And I started strength training about, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and I've never felt um stronger than I do in, close to 40. And it's crazy because in my 20s, I was massively unhealthy. In my early 20s, I was working at fast food and I was eating like fast food all the time. And now I haven't even touched, man, I think I haven't touched fast food since like 2009.
Good for you.
Yeah, I
I
haven't.
cannot say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a standard I set for myself,
And I love that.
having gone into naturopathic medicine in an early age.
Right, right. You had to
And
like live your brand.
absolutely. And I was so in love. It's so funny because I actually thought when I had the work study, so I got put into naturopathic medicine at college and it was a work study assignment. The lady had told me about this natural clinic. I thought it was a pot clinic.
You're like, yes.
Yeah, and I went in, and I had no idea that herbs or homeopathy or any of this type of thing existed. And so I felt like I had found my calling, and I was always the youngest person in the room. Like back in the day, I was always the youngest because this was like in 2008, and I was always the youngest person in the room. And now natural medicine and like healthy living has become mainstream, and it's cool because I helped it become mainstream. I was the leader of the March Against Monsanto back in
I love that.
2012.
Yeah.
Like,
Very
and
Aquarian of you.
I was so young. Yeah, oh my gosh. Like always. And I was so young. I was so young,
Yeah.
and now it's mainstream and it's beautiful to watch. And it's like, well, if we can keep that going with like how your energy field is showing up, how you are tuning your frequency and that, that sort of thing. I'm always on the forefront of whatever movement is going on. And it's funny because when you were in that room, of the marketing room, you were one of the only people that knew what human design was. And I knew what that was like 5 years ago. I'm like, oh gosh, this is, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, but it's becoming mainstream and it's so
It's
fun
getting
to
there.
watch. It's fun. In the circles that we run in, it's like everybody's talking about it. And it's interesting to watch things go from just a little glimmer to becoming a big spark. And it's cool because in the online world we're at the forefront of um, ideas and the forefront of like what's your dream, like you and I are really at the forefront of what's your dream and watching people like manifest that into reality and watching
Yeah.
people actually like stop. We're always going to need people to work 9 to 5 and work for other people and like
Right.
do the surface level stuff, but there's other people that really have a dream and they really have an idea of what it is the calling on their life is. And if we have more people in this world that meet that calling and create a legacy, it creates that ripple effect. And then it's like this generational ripple effect. My daughter, well, she's my stepdaughter, but she's been with her since she was 5. I've watched her. It's so funny. Like last night I was looking at her Instagram and I saw there was a picture on, I always have flowers drying in my dashboard of my car. And I saw a picture of her little dashboard and there was flowers there. And then she's
Cute.
posting these like memes about eating healthy. And it's like I was always hammering on her to eat healthy from the time she was little. And now
Yeah.
she's like hammering on her boyfriend. She's 18, and she's
Yeah.
hammering on her boyfriend to eat healthy.
It changes
It's
the game
just
when you change the way you eat.
Yeah. Or when you just how you show up. How you
and how
show
you
up in the
show
world is
up and the
everything.
energy that you put behind you, how you eat too. I
Yeah.
feel like that's a whole nother conversation. A lot of people coming from a really good place of
Mm-hmm.
like eating healthy can sometimes have it be fear based.
Yes.
I think that a lot more people, when you come at it from a fear place, like I'm just doing what feels right for me.
Yeah.
And there's place for moderation. There's place for, but at the end of the day, I take more energy in than I do the actual food. Like it's more about the intentionality in what we eat and obviously choosing healthier things as much as you can, but
Mm-hmm.
don't be be
Pious.
yeah, pious, and also don't be fearful if you're eating something that's not healthy
Yes.
because you're ingesting fear. You know what? Like I'm going to go this weekend and have like a fun hamburger at a bar. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna enjoy it. Like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be fearful because this isn't like the healthiest choice.
Yeah.
And that's the shift.
I've worked for physicians, for naturopathic physicians who there was two that I can think of right off the bat that were just so pious and so rigid about every single thing, like from to the clothes that they put on their body. And I totally I subscribe to the fact that, the plastics and we absorb the plastic and but there's only it's almost you make yourself sicker if you go so far.
Right. Cause like again, it's the law of attraction. Whatever you put your
Yeah.
attention on, that's what you're going to manifest. So if you're putting all your
Yeah.
attention on all these toxins that are in the world and how
Yeah.
you're like everything is toxins, like what are you ingesting more of? You're ingesting more toxins
Yeah,
as
and you
opposed to
have to
just
be you have to be balanced. Everything
balance.
has to
Yeah.
have balance.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
crazy to think that, you can just focus on all of these things, instead of just focusing on what you want to create.
Yeah, I wanna create a healthy lifestyle. I wanna live
Yeah.
in health. I wanna live
Yes.
in vitality, and that's
Yes.
the energy you attract to no matter what you're eating, you're gonna have a different experience as opposed to living in like, "Oh, I'm so scared that if I drink this soda," like, just
I have
again
cancer. Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah. That's what
that's gonna
creates
cause more
cancer.
issues in your body than just having a really healthy attitude about what you're ingesting and having a peace with everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Energy is always gonna trump anything else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Have you heard about those frequency tuned supplements?
I have not, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm a rep now, I guess, for these
Okay, cool.
really cool supplements called Frequence, and I haven't
Okay.
even explored them to their depths, but they're tuned with a frequency machine, and they tune these supplements, and they have like a red light mask and stuff, and they tune the red light mask and they tune the supplements and to a certain specific frequency that's like the healing frequency. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I think as we move into the age of Aquarian and there's so much more Aquarian energy coming in, I think we're gonna see more and more inventions and
Mm-hmm.
medicines and like even just with the upswing and like peptides and things like that, there's
Oh yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
more about the frequency of things and
Yeah.
really getting to the root causes of things
Yeah.
as opposed to just putting band-aids on things.
I really hope that the Western medicine gets on board with that. Like,
I hope so too.
I,
I'm not going to get into politics, but even hopefully having one person
yeah.
at the helm maybe makes a little bit of a difference.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I agree with that 110%. Have you noticed that our skies are clearer?
Yes. Yes.
Really? No, truly.
Truly, like
Truly,
I have not
truly.
seen as much cloud seeding as I have in the past.
I have not either, and I used to go out and watch in the mornings, and like every morning it's clear. It's really interesting.
Yeah, even the sky colors I feel like are even a little bit clearer.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool. No,
We're
I
not
know.
going to go that
I
direction, people,
no,
but
I know, I know, I know. I know it's hard
I'm
though. It's
I'm a
hard
I'm
because
a I am a neutralist. Like I think
yeah.
there's flaws on both sides of the fence.
Same.
Like I think that there's no right or wrong, but I definitely think someone standing up for our health is a very good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It's hard not to go there.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I know you talked about like so with these foundations that you have, like what does a perfectly balanced day look like for Lacey? Like if you're doing all your things and like this is my routine that has helped ground me.
Yeah. So waking up and first of all drinking a full glass of water is very important with
Love
some
it.
electrolytes, being well hydrated, and then doing my skincare routine. And I like to oil cleanse, so I wash my face with oil. It's a mixture of castor oil and sunflower oil, and a couple and olive oil and some essential oils. And I wash
Okay.
my face morning and then night with this oil cleansing routine. You can
All right. We
look
need
up.
the
It's called
recipe.
I know I'll send it to you. It's a
Okay.
glass skin, Korean glass skin routine.
Okay. All right. We will get the
Yeah.
recipe. I will put it in the show notes. And then
Yeah.
I will also put how to like follow Lacey so you can like get all this good information from her
Yeah.
socials.
Yeah, absolutely. And then doing my morning prayers,
Ooh, love it.
and yeah, and then Bible study, um, making sure that I'm nourishing my mind.
Great.
A little bit of journaling, gratitude journal. I have a little gratitude journal. I write 5 things that I'm grateful for. And then I would really love it if I started my day with exercise, but I usually don't get my weightlifting in until the midday because I usually have after all that stuff in the morning, I have a hit the ground running with work. But I always take
Yeah.
my dog on my hot girl walk.
Love a
Go
good
my hot
hot
girl
girl
walk.
walk. I
Yeah,
do
go
mine
my
with
hot.
my weighted vest.
Yep, hot girl walk every
Hot girl
day.
walk.
Yep, yeah. Sometimes I take two. Take my dog, and then I, get to work. And then I go weightlift, and I'll have a snack, a nourishing snack throughout the day. I usually have like if I'm gonna have like lunch snack, I usually have like a charcuterie board type thing,
I love it.
some nuts and some meat and some fruit, and drink more water, of course, more electrolytes. And then after I exercise, I always have protein. And then for dinner, we usually have a Whole Foods, a protein and some rice and some vegetables, and that's about it. And then, of course, I wash my face again with my oil cleansing, make sure I'm having enough water, but just always making sure that I'm checking in with myself and my energy and making sure, if I'm not feeling my top notch, to honor that and to rest, because I've been one to burn out. And so lately, the theme has been, um, am I resting? Am I actually like honoring my body enough to allow myself to rest? Because I tend to be a bit of a workaholic. Um, working online and owning your own business, you never stop working.
Yes. And there's
Ever.
always something to like tweak
Yeah,
or work on. Yeah, it's
always.
very easy to do that. So
Yeah, yeah, and
same.
honoring that. And then
Honoring
making
that.
sure a couple times a week to do qigong, tai chi, or yoga, some sort of movement like
Like moving up.
that.
Yeah.
We have I One of my clients is a movement studio, and they have a qigong class that I really
That's so
love.
fun.
Yeah, and then listening to making sure that I'm listening to like singing bowls and frequencies. I try to do it before bed, listening to those frequencies so that I can kind of tune my energy a little bit, more to a frequency that is just emitting, more positivity. I can get stuck sometimes into like negative mindset, and I have to. One thing I do every single day is I listen to things like Tony Robbins, Jocko, Les Brown, um, Jordan Peterson, people like that, like positive influences, so that I'm not getting stuck into the negative self-talk. It's gotten a lot better over the years, but when you have a lot of darkness, you have to combat that with positive reinforcement. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah, I
That's what
listen
I'm
to.
always listening to something along those
Me too.
lines on my hot girl walks.
Yep,
So
yep,
I'm always but looking for really good audiobooks or podcasts to listen
yeah,
to because that's when I am like I'm out in nature, I'm getting the sun, I'm getting vitamin D, and then I'm making sure that I'm really listening to something that helps me get to higher vibrations and
yeah.
and just into a higher mindset so I can see beyond my little bubble of current reality.
Yeah, and I've actually started on my hot girl walks going in silence,
Ooh,
because
okay.
one thing that I have, and I'll listen to my positive reinforcement like when I'm getting ready or when I'm working on a project or something like that, because silence, we are so uh, inundated with noise, constant noise. I mean,
Yes.
constant noise, and so there's there's something to be said for sitting in silence and like being
Yes.
bored, because the one thing that separates the 20th century from the 21st century is boredom and is
Mm,
silence. Because back in the day, we had boredom, we had silence, we had time to be creative. And so that silence has become really important to me in my walks so that
love
I
that.
can actually like come up with new ideas. And especially in the world of like AI and chat GPT, I have noticed that because I use a lot of AI and chat GPT for website create, like for
Yeah.
copy.
It's a
I
great
don't
tool.
It's a great tool. I don't use it for my own marketing, but I do use it for writing copy for websites, and I use it for like helping me with idea,
I
mind
always feel like
mapping.
it's a good jumping off start. Like,
Yes.
and then from there, I'm able to like call in and get, tweak it to where it needs to be. But like, I always feel like, okay, this
Yeah.
gives me like a foundation to start with.
I
And then
s-
I
I
grow it from
switched
there.
that. Yeah,
You
I
switch that.
used to be like that. I switched it up because I felt like my brain was getting atrophy, and I saw this study about how your brain doesn't work as well now, and that's being atrophied. So I've actually started one of the things I have started doing in my morning routine is copywriting, because I
Okay.
used to do a ton of copywriting. Like I took all the copywriting classes, all of those,
Yeah.
funnel secrets classes. And I actually started implementing copywriting into my mornings
I love that.
because it helps my brain get going. And it helps me to come up with new ideas. So silence, and this is all just kind of new stuff that I've started implementing since I've
Yeah,
got so hard into the AI, and everything sounds the same. Like
it does.
it's crazy. And so I'm really starting to re-embody these 20th century values
I think
because we're
there is
losing
going
them.
to be a callback to simplicity, a callback
Yeah.
to authenticity, because I think,
Yeah.
some people are going to start to see right through the fakeness of AI and all this stuff, and people are going to be more drawn to like what's real. And I think that's why podcasting is going to see a huge uprising, because it's really hard to use AI in a podcasting platform.
People are doing it though. People are using AI to write their scripts, and they're reading it
Right.
off. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
you're gonna feel that though,
Oh, you
right?
do. Oh,
You
you
feel it. You
absolutely do.
100% feel it.
You
And
absolutely
but
do.
like if you're being truly authentic, like I might like come up with a concept and I'll have it do like a
Sure.
wireframe for me.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, let's be honest and transparent, I will have it create like a wireframe for me. It's giving me a skeleton to work
Yeah.
from.
Most of
And
us do too.
most
Yeah.
of us do. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to find is, we're going to find this happy medium. I think you're going to see a whole swing where it's too much AI and people are going to be like, whoa, 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 that's too much.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a little lost. Some people will.
I think we have seen
Yeah,
that.
I think we're getting there real fast because it is such a novel thing right now. And then I think we're going to, maybe swing a little bit further back in the opposite direction. And then we'll come to this like really beautiful grounded spot in between two.
I hope so.
And
I hope so.
I feel like that's the magic space, because I think these things can be really helpful. I think they're going to move
Totally.
society in beautiful new ways, but you have to remember you're the creator always.
Yes.
Allow
Yeah.
yourself to be the creator. Don't let it create for you. Create
Absolutely.
and then use that to tweak and maybe get, just edit your stuff.
Yeah. Oh
So
my gosh. I know. I see people that don't. I'm like,
yeah, just like
ah.
smooth
Yeah.
out my rough
Yeah.
concept here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And finding that
Absolutely.
happy medium, but always making sure that you are the creator first, that you're working with your, connected to the divine source of all things, whether that be God, whatever you want to call it, but you're connected to that first and you're creating from that space first. Then we're using these tools to help as a like almost like a little bit of like just a little boost, but like we're not using them to create it all.
No.
No,
No.
they're
And
not the
I think
source.
that's why silence is so important too.
Yeah,
And
I have,
just,
yeah, I agree. I have time every week where I call it my do nothing time,
yeah, same.
where I have like I'm totally unplugged, not on my phone, not on anything, and I'm just simply allowing myself to be. And that can be
And
me
that's
just
difficult.
sitting, yeah, and
Yeah.
just sitting on a trampoline where it's totally quiet. Like we have one in our backyard and I just lay in it and I just sit there. And it's just so healing. I think it's so good for the nervous system to completely just be.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I that's why I do that on the walks, because
Yeah, I love that you found a way to incorporate it that works for you.
yeah, I read somewhere that some of the top CEOs have started doing that. They've started
Yeah.
going on silent walks because there's so much noise. And so I started trying that because I
Yeah,
used
I'll
to
have
be
to give it a
someone that
shot.
would listen to it all the time. And now I've just incorporated listening to the positive reinforcement when I'm like working, or when when I'm just doing my makeup or cooking dinner, that sort of thing.
Yeah, everyone, we're all so different, and I feel like
Yeah.
all these things are important, and then
Yeah.
finding what works for you.
What works for you? Yeah,
Yeah, try these
absolutely.
things. Try a silent walk. Does that work for you? Oh, I don't love
Yep.
that. That didn't work for
Yep.
me. Okay, then maybe I'll do silent, sitting out on the trampoline. Like, okay, that works
Yeah.
for me. And
Yep.
finding like or you might find something that's totally different that works for you. And
Yeah.
allow yourself to experiment. Allow yourself to ask the question, like, what's my medicine today? What does
Yeah.
my body need today?
I love that.
And just allowing yourself to settle into what works for you, because there is no right way to do life.
No.
There's
No.
there's no formula, there's no manual. Every one of us is so uniquely different for a purpose. So
Mhm.
it's settling into what works for you and taking these tools that Lacey talks about, talking, to bringing in some of the tools that I talk about, and really kind of hand mixing what works for you.
Yeah.
And that is when you really settle into creating a real change in your life, when you find what works for you instead of trying to follow everyone else's prescription.
Yeah, there's some people that don't even have a routine, and the anti-routine, and that's what's good for them, and
Right.
and that helps them to become the most creative expression of themselves. Whatever works to, create change, and as long as you're not staying stagnant, that's the important thing.
That is the important thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether your routine is flow and you
Yep.
just allow it to be what it is every day,
Yep.
or you're a person who needs more structure. Like, I think that's one of the questions I get asked the most is like, how do I find that balance between structure and flow? And I'm like, you find it by embodying it, what works for you. Some people, and I can look at your chart, I can look at your human design, and I can tell you probably what will work better for you, just because the way your energy moves. Um, but again, at the end of the day, I can tell you these things. Lacey will tell you some things, but like, what works for you?
Experiment.
Experiment.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
life is a game. It's an experiment. Play, have fun, try different things, and find what works for you. And that is such a great way to wrap this beautiful conversation up in a beautiful little bow. Um, is to allow yourself to embody this life, to have fun with it, to play with it, and as we kind of wrap up, Lacey, if I were to ask you, what is your piece of the puzzle? Because that's what we're all about here. We're owning our piece. What do you believe your piece of the puzzle is?
Hmm. Like in
And
life,
yeah, like your purpose, your puzzle
my
piece.
purpose. My purpose is to help other people define their purpose, and to shine the light in dark places,
Ooh,
so that people can rise and shine, really, so that people can rise to the occasion, and to create a ripple effect that lasts generations. It's creating legacy, through anchoring, the process of anchoring in, and just helping people to see what their own light is, and to know that um, chaos is only temporary. Like, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, or you're dealing with chaos and you're dealing the storm will pass, but you have to anchor in so that you don't get swept away with the storm. And so my role is to really be the guide through the storm.
yeah. And you have been through some major storms in your life and you have found those anchors. And what a beautiful gift that is to share that with other people. Because I mean, we can be positive. We know our thoughts create our reality, but we're still going to have storms.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
how we anchor in those storms that is the huge difference. And it's by creating these modules of health that we
Mhm.
stay anchored in, and no matter what's going on around us. And one thing I know for sure is that the chaos on this planet is only going to get crazier. So these tools of anchoring and self-regulation and self-sovereignty are only going to become more and more important as the world descends into more and more chaos. So the more you can come home to yourself and own your own energy and call your own energy back on a daily basis, that's what's going to set you apart from the chaos that is this world.
Absolutely. And knowing what your purpose is.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can see beyond the chaos when you are anchored into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
then you can help others.
Yes. Yes. And we help, and together we help everyone rise.
Yeah, and that's, Melanie Ann Lair of Alpha Femme, she has a
Yes.
really great saying, for me, for you, for us, together we rise.
I love that.
I love that.
That's
I love
beautiful.
that. Yeah, yeah. And so
And
I
if we
always think
all
about that.
embody that energy,
Mhm.
if we move beyond just being about us and
Mhm.
we stepped outside of ourselves, and how can I serve? How can I help those around you? Because by me helping you,
Yeah.
you're helping me, and we're all rising together.
Yeah, exactly. And then
That's,
that's how we create a better
yeah, that's
world
how
to
we
live
bring
in.
in this new world that we're
Yeah.
creating.
Yeah. A better
Yeah.
world to just have healthier habits and healthier foundations.
Yes.
The soil will be healthy.
Yes, we can do
Yeah.
this. We can
Yes.
do it. Well, it's been such a beautiful conversation. I'm so grateful to have you on this podcast. Thank you
Thank you for
so
having me.
much. I will make sure the show notes are packed with how to get a hold of Lacey. What's your Instagram, real quick?
At Lacey_influx.
Okay.
INFLUX. Yeah.
All right. We'll make sure that's in the show notes so that they can find you, they can connect with you. And she might be adding a little something into Ignite Your
Yes.
Type, which I'm so excited about. You'll be hearing more about that. Much love, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Thanks for having me.